Hey guys, I'm just about getting ready to go to bed, and I wanted to share something with you guys. I've been doing a lot of reading. Okay, I guess everybody wants to go ahead and message me at this time, but I'll get to that in a minute. I've been doing a lot of reading these past couple of days while we're stuck at home, and I, you know, I don't want to get into the gist of why I'm reading the books that I'm reading, but one of the books that I have been reading is called Marriage, Divorce, and Remarriage. And like I said, I don't want to get into the just the reasons why I'm reading it, but it's very, very fruitful, and I've learned a lot. Not just about marriage, I mean, but I've also learned a lot as how Christ is to the church and how the church is to Christ. But there's one particular analogy that caught my attention in the book, and it's been for the past couple of days replaying in my mind, and I've actually thought maybe I should go ahead and do a video about it. And the analogy is very simple. A father, it's evening time, bedtime, and the father takes his son and escorts him to the room. Tells the son it's time to go to bed. The son does not want to go to bed. He's full of energy. He wants to stay up. But the father's telling him it's time to go to bed. Tomorrow's another day. The kid is very hyper and starts jumping up and down. The father tells him it's time to go to bed. Once the kid calms down, the father steps out the bedroom and goes into his bedroom. A few minutes later, you hear the boy jumping on the bed. And jumping and jumping and jumping. The father comes to the room and says, "What are you doing? It's time to go to bed." And the kid does not want to listen to the warning. The father once again leaves out the room, and again the kid jumps on the bed, and he's jumping and he's jumping and he's jumping. And the father tells him, "Son, it's time to go to bed." Now he's a little bit more stern with his voice, and he's trying to tell him, "Look, I love you and everything, and I know you want to play around. I know you want to go ahead and jump around. I know you're full of energy. I know you want to explore that imagination of yours. But it's time to go to bed." Okay. The kid pretends that he's falling asleep. Father leaves the room. Within a couple of minutes, the kid is jumping on the bed, when all of a sudden you hear a loud duh. The kid falls on the floor and starts crying and screaming from pain. The father runs to the room and asks him, "Are you okay? What's the matter? What happened?" The kid said, "I fell." The father said, "How did you fall?" The kid said, "I got too close to the edge." Father said, "Okay," consoles him, takes care of him, and then goes on. That's where the analogy ends. But I want to go ahead and tap into that a little bit further. I want you to think of you being that child. You're a member of the church being that child. You're jumping around back and forth. Now, I don't know anybody personally that's going through this, but you're jumping around back and forth, and you're full of energy. You're full of you want to explore, but the Lord's telling you it's time to go to bed. The Lord's telling you to stay put. The Lord's telling you to stay within the confines of that bed. That bed represents shelter. That bed represents stability. That bed represents the protection, the cover of the Lord in your life. That's what that bed represents. That bed represents you being closer and intimate with God. But once you start getting close to the edge, you're getting further away from God. And when you start getting further away from God, eventually what winds up happening is that you fall off that bed. And when you fall off that bed, the only thing that waits for you is pain and suffering. Now, like I said, I don't know anybody that's going through this, but I felt the need to go ahead and actually go do a video about this. So if you find yourself at one point where you were close to God, you were intimate with God, praying and seeking the Lord's will, but all of a sudden you find yourself at the edge of the bed, The only thing that's going to wait for you when you fall off that bed, because you will fall off that bed if you stay at the edge, is pain and suffering. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night. I love you guys. God bless.